The U.S. economy faces major upheavals. How are new policies impacting the nation? 54% of U.S. voters believe the economy is on the wrong track. Meanwhile, Wall Street just suffered its worst week in 2 years. At the same time, a wave of new tax policies and tougher immigration measures are causing a storm of controversy. What do these changes mean for everyday Americans and the broader economy? Economic uncertainty weighs on Americans. A recent survey reveals a striking paradox. Despite the president's high approval ratings, the economy remains the top concern. More than half of voters, 54%, are dissatisfied with how things are going. They hoped for lower prices, but instead the cost of living remains high. Inflation is still a worry, and homeownership is becoming a distant dream. The numbers tell a harsh story. Over the past year, food prices have risen 6.3%. Essentials like eggs, milk, and beef are up 8.5%, 7.2%, and 10.4%, respectively. Rent is skyrocketing, rising 12 to 18% in major cities like New York, Los Angeles, and Miami. This isn't just theory, it's hitting hard in everyday life. And it's not just consumers feeling the heat. Financial markets are shaken. Last week, the Dow Jones plunged 4.2%. The S&P 500 dropped 3.8%, the biggest loss in 2 years. Tech giants like Apple, Tesla, and Microsoft saw their stocks nosedive. Experts warn, if these trends continue, job security could be next. Businesses may slash costs, leading to layoffs. But will new tax policies turn things around or make matters worse? Let's dive in. Controversial tax policies. Boost or burden? The administration defends its tax strategy, arguing it's crucial for protecting U.S. manufacturing. But many Americans and businesses see it as a double-edged sword. According to the Treasury Department, since these new taxes took effect, raw material costs have spiked 15 to 25% across multiple industries. Auto, electronics, and steel companies are feeling the heaviest impact. 5,000 plus small businesses have filed for bankruptcy in just 6 months. Big corporations can offset costs by passing them on to consumers. Small businesses, not so lucky. And one industry facing a particularly rough road? Electric vehicles. Tesla and Rivian are forced to cut back production. Battery and component costs are climbing fast. This slows the transition to clean energy, hurting both the economy and the environment. For everyday consumers, the effect is blunt. Since the new taxes, retail prices have jumped 8%. The average U.S. household is now paying $1,500 to $2,000 more per year just to maintain their standard of living. So, is this tax policy really working? Or is it adding new hurdles to an already struggling economy? If that wasn't enough, another policy shift is causing an even bigger stir. Immigration. Immigration policies. Security or economic disaster. Border security has always been a divisive topic, but a recent decision has ignited intense debate. The administration is invoking the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, a law over 200 years old, to deport undocumented immigrants, particularly those with alleged ties to Venezuelan gangs. The public is split. 55% of Americans support stricter border controls, but critics warn of massive economic fallout. Here's why. The U.S. agriculture, construction, and service industries rely on immigrant labor. According to the Labor Department, 20% of workers in these fields are undocumented. If they're deported, the U.S. faces a major workforce shortage. What happens next? Higher labor costs, more expensive products, businesses struggling to fill jobs. And the bigger picture? Economists predict these mass deportations could shrink U.S. GDP by 1 to 2% over 3 years. Government tax revenue takes a hit, increasing pressure on public spending. Some argue these measures will make the country safer. Others say they will overburden courts, businesses, and local economies. But one thing is clear, this policy will have widespread and long-lasting impacts. So, where does this leave the U.S. economy? Are we headed toward recovery or deeper trouble? Stay tuned. The next chapter of this story is just beginning.